everyone. I'm Bao. I'm a student junior year at Petty School, and my project for this term is the FootballPlaysMaker web application. So, in order to explain what I did in this term, I have to go over the basic concepts of a football play. So, football, as you know, I'm referring to American football, and in this game, a really important part of it is the football plays. And a football plays essentially is a plan of action or strategy used to move the ball down the field. And it is often portrayed as like a drawing with symbols, lines, and numbers and letters to show players' positions and the interactions that they would have with the other team or with their teammates. So the shapes and the text like 4I, 1, 5, S, B, M, W, and circle and the rectangles are players. And the shapes are players in your team, while the text and the numbers are the enemies. And the lines are the directions that your team member or your like yourself would move if you see the play or if the play is called during the game. And why I did this is because I want to have a really skill-based and like technical project this term in order to build up my skills in an area that I'm not familiar with, which is web programming. And I want to also solve a project that or a problem that is currently like existing in the Petty community, particularly in the Petty football team, because in my team, players would have paper quizzes, and usually it takes a lot of time for the coaches to go through and also waste a lot of paper. And yeah. So this is considered a full stack project. And a stack is usually a set of products and technologies that are used to accomplish a particular platform for the applications, in this case, the web application. And for this project, I used the Django stack, which use these technologies, except that I did not use AngularJS. Yeah, and I also use the database called SQLite, which is a database that comes with the Django framework. So I don't need to learn about MySQL. The Django model is Python-based and open source, and it has three main parts, which is the models, the templates, and the views. You might not be familiar with these terminologies, but it is really simple once I explain it to you. So the models is like a list of classes or objects that can be called, such as a user, a question, or an answer choice. A template are essentially HTML pages that is like in a normal website. There's like an HTML pages that describe that organize your information and display it in a form that is readable, legible by the users. And the views are how the logic works behind the website. So if you click on a button or you draw a circle, that is an action that's performed by the views.py file. So the components of the website are the home page, the create list, the view list, and the quiz page and the results page. These are pretty much the basic layout of the website. And you can kind of see like how they're laid out. This is the home page. And if I click on the new list, create new list, I'll see the list and I will have the option to create a new list. Test yourself, you will be able to see the list and attempt the quiz, which would lead you to the quiz page. And the results page will be seen if you click on this button. Yeah, these are some of the pictures of the website. I'll do a live demo later, but this is how it works. This is the quiz page, and this is an actual quiz, and this is the results page. The process is, there's three main parts. The first part is the online course. The second part is the part where I learned the skills and I try to implement it in some of the projects that are in the course. And the last part is actually making the project using the technologies I've learned. And these are some of the sources I've referenced in my project. W3 Schools and the Stack Overflow are the two websites that I use a lot to search up bugs or ways to implement the website. And Bootstrap is a tool that I use to implement CSS or JS and HTML to make it look better and also make it easier for me to do format HTML pages. This is a course for anyone who's interested. It is a web developer bootcamp. As you can see, a lot of people have taken the course already, and I think it's a really amazing course just because of the amount of content and the amount of detail that there is in the course. And the teacher is a really good teacher, I think. Some of the challenges that I've went over during the course is first the content. You see there's like a lot of sections. Each of them is like an hour or 2 hours. And I have to sometimes I have to skip some of them, but in the end, as long as I know how to read documentation, I can just search up some of the things I learned in the course and reference them easily. And the time allowed for the actual project creation is not much because I spent a lot of time in class just taking the course. So I spent around like 1 week actually working on the website or the web app. Bugs, I had a lot of time and trouble dealing with bugs and had to stay up late a lot. I mean, it's just a lot of work. Yeah, and syntax errors. Yeah. So the results, I was able to make an actually functional website, even though there are some functions that are do not function smoothly. I still think that it's a actually functional project. Things I learned, these are the technologies that I've learned, and some of the skills I used from my previous CS classes, which came really handy, is object-oriented programming and data structures and using libraries. In terms of actual computer science skills, I developed a full stack web application, and I was able to organize my project and set up deadlines for myself so that I finished the project in time. And reading documentation was, I think, honestly, one of the best skills I've learned in this term. For the future development, I plan to improve the quiz function and answer choices and make the app online, because as of right now, it's a local host website, which is run through the local computer. And I plan to integrate all the technologies and improve the user interface and user experience to make it easier for people to use the web application and want to use it. Thank you for listening, and now I'll do a live demo of the website. Oh, okay. So first, when you open the website, you'll see the login screen, and you can create an account. You need to enter your information, or you can log in with your credentials. And now there are 3 options, as well as a task like a navigation bar. And if I click on create new list, you will see the list of plays that were created with the name of the person or the user who created the list and the name of the actual list, as well as the number of questions and the options. You can view the list, you can add a question, or you can delete the list. If I click on view the list, I can see all the flashcards that were made or the plays that were made by the users. Okay, and if I go back, I can add a question, which allows me to interact with this Python file or Python function, which allows me to draw shapes. And that's essentially the main idea of the project. It's like Quizlet, except you are able to create drawings and save it as flashcards on the web application. And I can add a text. And I can use a pencil to move around and draw shapes or draw movements of a player. I can enter a question and I can enter the correct answer. And I can add it to the list. And if you go to the list, you view the list, you will see that the new question is added to the actual playlist. The next function that I want to show you is the attempt quiz function. And essentially the logic behind this is that it randomizes the answer choices while still leaving one choice that is the correct choice for the play. And I can choose any of these choices. I will try to look for. And some of these are not entered because there's not enough plays in the list to randomize every answer choices so that they have different choices. So if there are like 20 plays, each of these will be a different answer choice in the list. Okay. And if I submit the list or the quiz, it will lead me to the results page where I'll be able to see every attempt that has taken place by either me, other people, or anyone else that is using the program. And this is like the result of my last quiz, which I got 1 out of 8. So yeah, that's where the test yourself page is. It's essentially a list page where you can choose lists and take quizzes. And check results is the tab of all the results. And another thing that I learned about, which I find really important, is editing the database or viewing the database, how I can view user database and correct them, delete them, or change them as needed, which is really important because it's a user security feature. So since this is an open source project where every user can enter and change any of the list as needed, I want it so that I am, as a website administrator, I'm able to see the data, see who logged in, who signed up, and delete any users that have malicious intents. And these are all the accounts that were created of all the users. And I can use a tool called DB Browser, which allows me to change any of the information from that website. So if I open that, I will be able to see the list. And I can change information.
Wow.
Like that. And if I reload this, you see that it's changed my name. So yes, that's how I manage the users. So to prevent anything from happening. So that's the whole project. And thank you guys for listening.
What made you choose Django and a Python backend versus something like Node.js backend?
I just feel like Python is a good language to learn more about, and also that is the first thing that I've encountered. And I see that there are some similarities between the Django stack and the things that I've learned in class, and just in terms of the models, template views model I showed you. And I feel like it's just a good skill to learn. I mean, I plan to learn other skills or learn about other technologies like Node.js or other stacks like mean stack or the merge stack in the future. But for now, I think it's a good starter project for me when I started developing a website or web application.
Sorry. Oh wait.
Yeah.
So are you ever gonna implement this in an actual website and make it not a web host, like a like by domain and like put on the server?
Yes, I plan to do so in the future, but I wasn't able to figure it out in time, so
Alright.
that's what I presented you with. Yeah.
This is not really a question, more so an offer. So you know the petty community board, right?
Yes.
So the petty community board is also written in Django with a very similar backend. So if you want to help out with that, I would love to recruit you for it because the team that we had working on the community board may or may not have consisted of all seniors that have graduated. So I've basically been left out and alone and sad. So I would really
Okay.
like it if you could help me. I mean,
Yeah.
you can still work on this project.
Yeah, I'll take that into consideration next year. Yeah.
How do you use Bootstrap for your CSS?
Bootstrap is not a technology, it's not like a library, it's more of it's like a website, and you read the documentation, you copy paste the code, so you don't have to do the HTML or CSS. So it's like pre-written code for you to copy and paste if you know what you're doing.
Do you see this being used for anything other sport besides football?
Yes. Currently I already see another opportunity, which is like the FRC team where we need to draw like the auto path, the autonomous path. And I was thinking about just like drawing that on the website and saving it just for reference, not for exact numbers, but yeah, it's still a good thing to use.
You know, kind of going off of that, I was like thinking, so you know how you use the software to control the database? What you could do instead, and this is just like an idea, is Django has a built-in admin page. You probably know about that.
Yeah.
So if you, because you may not be the administrator for all of the websites that like are passed on, especially if you're going to give it to like the petty community, like you might want to make your football coach the administrator for this website, or if you're going to do it for robotics, make like Meredith or something. So, but if you decide to implement, if you want to go down like that approach, then using the admin page for the control of the database might actually be a lot easier. It requires like zero software and is very intuitive for other people to learn. So you could,
I understand. I know that some of the parts I do are kind of like not the best way to do it, but yeah, like
It's
I-
a beginning.
it's a learning process.
yeah, I know. And I know all the technologies that are available. It's just
Yeah.
like some are harder to implement,
That's true. Yeah.
but it's easier to use once you get used
Used
to
to
it. Yeah.
Right, thanks, Val.
Ara had a
Oh,
question.
Arif, sorry.
So like given that I have like I also like work with like the like working and designing user interfaces. I'm just kind of interested in knowing like what is like one of the challenges that you had while developing this site.
It's definitely syntax. The website just like stopped working when I do something that's like remotely wrong. And copy and pasting code sounds like an easy task, but if you know, only if you know what you're doing. Like I didn't know what I was doing for the first few weeks. So yeah. And I find the online course that I told you guys about really useful because it has a lot of like tips just between videos. And yeah, he just goes really deep into some of the technologies.
Like I think just with Django especially, it's just like the psychology of it, because like when you get a syntax error, it's like the website just stops working and the error just flashes in your face. It's just like there. Like you can't see anything else except for the error message pop up
Yeah.
on your screen. And it makes you feel like crap. Like it's
Why Node.js is superior
well, like Django is good.
compared
It's
to.
amazing.
Are we good? We're good. Thank you.